Story 1. I thought my girlfriend was just a single mom, but she hid that she has a grandchild. I, 36 male, have started dating my girlfriend, 37 female, for about 2 months. I always knew she had a son when she was 19. It didn't bother me because her son doesn't live with them. He has his own place. I haven't met him only once, so I'm relieved that I do not have to bear the responsibility of being a stepdad. Just a few days ago, my girlfriend dropped the bomb that her son just had a baby girl. I was shocked. I didn't know he had a girlfriend, let alone know that he got his girlfriend pregnant, which means my girlfriend knew about it before. I asked her why she didn't tell me this. She said that her son's love life is none of her business. Her son is an adult, so the responsibility of his child is only on him. She may babysit her granddaughter, but no parental responsibility. She still pays for her son's school, so I do not know how she will manage it. I firmly told her that I do not want to be involved in raising his child in any way, not even financially, and all of this is just weird to me. She reassured me that I don't have one, that she has raised her son well enough to take responsibility. I asked her for some space, and she agreed. The last time I had any conversation with her was when she sent me a text apologizing to me for keeping it away from. But she didn't want me to think this is my responsibility. And since she is washing her hands off her son's personal life, she thought it wouldn't be a problem. I don't know how to feel about this. On one hand, I really like her. She's beautiful, smart, kind, and our intimate life is amazing. This is the first relationship I had after divorcing my cheating ex-wife 4 years ago. I gave up on love after being betrayed until I met my girlfriend. She was welcoming and understanding, but I do not know how to get over the fact that I might just become a step-grandfather. I never wanted kids of my own. That's why I got a vasectomy 2 years ago. Neither did my girlfriend. I just need some opinion because this is weird to me. I mean, the one thing that I'll say to this person that is kind of a conflict in my mind is they're saying, oh, her child is an adult now, so I don't have to be a stepfather. You do, to an extent. Like, you don't have to be there for the, child rearing part of it, but you would still be becoming a part of that family. And if her son is a part of her life, then he would be a part of your life. Like, I don't think that you get to, date someone and be like, I'm dating you, but your kids? Blah! I don't even care if they're adults. I don't want to see them. I'm not here for them. That's kind of part of becoming someone's family and everything. So the fact that her child is having a grandchild, I know it's kind of early and you're like, whoa, but you're like, I don't want to be a, stepfather or a step-grandfather. I mean, her child was likely to have a child eventually. Was this going to become a problem? I don't know. I feel like there's a conflict there and you're trying to hope that you can have a relationship her without anything else. And maybe that can work, but in my head, it does not. Story 2. Am I the a-hole for forcing my partner to communicate? My, 28 female, partner, 28 male, has a lot going on. He got a really sad family illness situation. His dream career he's been working towards for years has just been put at risk. He can't get out of his 9-to-5 job because the market is so poor at the moment, etc. He's really low. He said to me in recent conversations that he's felt empty and doesn't know how long for, and he can't remember the last time he was happy. As soon as he says these things, I try to get him to open up a bit and either talk them through with me or seek help from a professional. And all he says then is, I don't want to talk about it. I don't need support. I'm just going to ignore everything and it will be fine. These things also affect me, as I do have a tendency to question, why does he feel empty with me, but I try so hard to rationalize them and have seen professionals to help. It's got to the stage where he has multiple mugs growing mold in his room. When we meet for a date night, he sighs and swears at every little inconvenience, etc. It's really starting to impact me, and the fact that he won't talk to me about anything puts me in a situation where I don't see any hope for this getting better. I feel like if he was willing to speak to someone, he may be able to learn how to deal with emotions in a more healthy way, and this may be less likely to escalate to this level in the future, but he's so unwilling to even speak to me. We're set to move in together in 6 months, and I'm really questioning that. I do love him. He's got so many good traits, but his lack of ability to deal with emotions crops up constantly. I know people deal with them in different ways, and I don't know if my view that you need to talk and support each other through everything is the right one. Am I the a-hole for saying he either needs to speak to me or a professional, or we need to speak about the relationship? I feel like they must have picked this story specially for me because of how much I talk about how important communication is in a relationship. And it is. And he does need to do this because if it is this constant issue that's cropping up and it's affecting his life in this massive negative way, then he does need that help. But also, I don't think he can be forced into it. He has to make that choice. That's kind of a big part of this stuff. And if he's not willing to do that when it's having an impact on your life, then yeah, I think you're in the right to be like, look, this issue is not just impacting you, but it's impacting our relationship. And if you're not willing to even talk to me about it or a professional, then I think we need to talk about the relationship. That doesn't make you an a-hole. That makes you someone who is not just looking out for him, but yourself. And yeah, if he's not willing to do that, then yeah, I think you need to have a talk. Story 3. Today I effed up by dumping a year-old grudge on the wrong person. So, there's a decent amount of context here. The 3 main people in this story are Mary, who got me into a friend group, Sarah, the problematic person who led the group, and Beth, one of Sarah's friends, fake names. We're all in our late 20s, early 30s. Near the end of 2021, I became part of a Discord friend group that started with a new friend of mine, Mary, and her friend Sarah. Mary and Sarah created the server together, but eventually had a falling out, and Mary left the group. I stayed in, but Sarah had a penchant for drama and immature behavior that led to a lot of conflicts, both involving me and involving other people on the server. She regularly pushed physical boundaries with people when she/they were drunk, tried to get my then-girlfriend to hook up with her when I wasn't around, and did a series of other inappropriate things that made me and other people uncomfortable, some of which I experienced, some of which I saw, and some of which I heard from first-hand witnesses. Some of these things would make your skin crawl. Eventually, after being in the group for about a year, there was an incident that made me realize that nobody in the group would confront her when she did things like this, so I effectively ghosted the server. I stopped talking there and instead tried talking to the half dozen or so people I was closest to in DMs, but most either didn't respond or indicated that they would only talk on the server, which I was eventually removed from. Losing all these friends at once hurt, and for a few months I often thought about what I would say to Sarah if I ever saw her again. In my head, I had a list of the worst things she did to me in the group. I realized that this wasn't healthy to keep thinking about, so I stopped thinking about it and became a lot happier. A short while later, I ran into Mary at a party, the original friend who got me into the group but left. We started hanging out as friends again, and for the past couple months, no Discord or anything, and it was nice. But then, last night at Mary's birthday party, I was caught off guard to see Beth, one of Sarah's best friends from the server. I hadn't seen someone from the server in a while, and while drunk, I had a flood of negative feelings, memories, and anxiety wash over me for a bit. I decided it was best to just talk to other people. But then, on the way home, a group of the partygoers all traveled together on the subway, including myself and Beth. Eventually, it was only myself and her left on the train, and I decided, poorly, that I should talk to her. It started as an attempt at explaining why I was avoiding her and/or awkward tonight, and quickly spiraled into a bad time. I told her I had a weird feeling when I saw her, remembering the friends from the server that I had lost, her included, but we weren't the closest. I asked if she was still on Sarah's server, and when she said yes, I asked if Sarah was acting any better. Beth asked what I meant, and my drunk idiot brain decided to dump about half of the list of awful things it had stored up from the year prior. Beth was immediately taken aback and rebuffed several of my points, specifically ones that happened to other people and I may have only heard about. Every story was a first-hand witness who described their involvement and discomfort to me, but I decided to pivot to just my accounts. She seemed surprised to hear about some of the things Sarah had done specifically to me, but I could tell I definitely lost the point of the conversation and was basically just having an impromptu meltdown over repressed memories to this person who didn't want to hear it. In the end, I apologized, said I was drunk, and clearly still just hurt over what happened. I told her losing so many friends at once was really hard on me, and I assumed Sarah and other people's allegiance to her and the server were the reason I wasn't hearing from anybody. A half dozen other people had left the server over the same time period due to their own fallings out with Sarah, and they were ghosted too. Beth told me she didn't know why people weren't talking to me, and I should ask them, which I pointed out I can't since none will respond to me. It felt like a slightly improved tone for the conversation by this point, still a crap show but less antagonistic, and Beth had to get off the train suddenly with a rushed "take care" from both of us. So that's how I effed up today. I probably won't hear anything directly from any of the old server mates, but I imagine this incident will wrap its way through the gossip train back to me soon enough. I'll be honest, I don't see this as an F-up. I see this as you being able to vent some stuff that you've been hanging on to someone that you were at least kind of friends with, who might be able to relay that back to other people who are still there who may also be having problems, and they might be able to think about like, hey, a number of people have all gone from the server. Is this actually an issue? Yeah, you might have been a bit drunk, you might not have presented the information in the best possible way, but it sounds like this Beth person was at least listening to some degree and hearing you out. So, I mean, the reason I don't think it's an F-up is even if Beth hears this and they just go back to be like, can you believe she said that? Ha 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 ha, let's ignore everything she said. Like, you're still just kind of where you started before that night, you know, with them not really talking to you, and sucks to people who are going to be like that to you. So, like, worst case scenario, you're still just kind of at the same level. They might just say some stuff about you, which maybe they were, maybe they won't. You don't know. If they're not talking to you, screw them. But best case scenario, maybe you actually made an impact. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't see that as an F-up at all. Story 4. Want to beat the crap out of your own car? Well, okay then. This is more malicious non-objection than malicious compliance, since my compliance consisted mostly of not stopping the idiot doing the stupid thing, albeit at his own request. But there's no subreddit, so I'll have to post it here. A few weeks ago, I found myself parked next to a car that was, as far as I could tell, identical to mine. Same make, Subaru, model, Outback, color, muddy green, and probably same year, although I'm not an expert. Close enough, probably. It's a popular car. I pass them all the time. My car has a largish parking lot ding on the driver's side rear door panel. No idea how it got there. Probably some kid opened his door a little too quickly and forcefully, and it smacked into my car. These things happen. No need to get worked up about it. I've been meaning to get it fixed, and I'm a little sorry that I didn't do it because it would have saved the idiot a lot of grief. Self-inflicted grief, to be sure, but still. Enter the idiot. Bog standard middle American dad. Nothing special about him. We're both exiting the Walmart with full cart, and he's about 100 feet ahead of me. As we approach, I'm thinking it looks like he's heading in the same direction. I even plan on jokingly saying, "Nice car," in Subaru solidarity. But I will not get that opportunity. I should mention that I've already clicked my clicker to unlock the car. It'll be important later. Kinda wish I hadn't, to be honest. That would have spared the idiot some grief too. This is the point where the idiot notices the large ding on his car's door, and he takes offense at that. To be fair, that ding is pretty ugly. The paint is gone where the tip or something from whatever hit it was centered, and there's a scratch leading off to one side. I think it kind of looks like a spoon in the middle of a small, shallow cereal bowl. So anyway, he gets really mad, like screaming things like, "Son of a bee!" and "It's an effing brand new car!" and stuff. I think he looked up at the windshield, hoping to find a note or something, but this all happened so fast that my brain might be making up details to fit into the blank spots. I've actually slowed down a bit by now because it's uncomfortable being around really peed-off people, and to be honest, I was super confused about what was going on. For a second, I actually forgot which car was whose. It didn't make sense for him to be hopping mad about my car having a dent. I think my brain was going, wow, 2 exact same cars getting huge parking lot dings in them. What are the odds? But you know that weird twisting feeling where you reorient yourself from the confusion and snap back to reality? That happened. I realized that he had made the same mistake that I made, and so I did what anyone would naturally do. I called out, "Hey, it's okay, that's my car," which backfired spectacularly. The idiot must have thought that I meant "that's my car's door that smacked into yours," which only made him madder. He started yelling things like, "What the F?" and more, "It's an effing brand new car!" and more of the same. I tried to explain, not exactly easy from a distance and definitely a lot harder when someone is raging at you. And that's when he opened the driver's side rear door on my car, i.e. the one with the large ding, and then he slammed it into his car. Hard. He made a dent, took a little paint off the edge of my door too, but I didn't notice that until later. So at that point I yelled, "Hey, stop that!" which only made him more upset because he responded with, "Oh, you don't like that? Shut the F up!" or words to that effect. I'm paraphrasing here. So I guess in a nutshell, that's my malicious compliance. I did exactly what he said, shut the F up and let him slam my car door into his car a couple more times, and I let him try to kick it too. There wasn't enough room between the two cars for a good Chuck Norris roundhouse, so he had to be satisfied with a weak sauce knee to the rear quarter panel, but kudos for trying, idiot. You gave it your best shot. I wish I was some kind of heroic Viking warrior who could come to the defense of his property, but my flabby butt-wimpy dad bod isn't up for a fight in a Walmart parking lot. So I backed my cart full of ice cream and frozen tater tots right the F out of there and started booking it back to the Walmart, intending to ask for help from a security guard. I sincerely regret that because I did not get to see the moment when the scales fell from the idiot's eyes and he realized that he had been beating the crap out of his own car. I can only imagine that it was one of the most epic epiphanies of his angry life. And to compound my disappointment, he exited the parking lot in the opposite direction, preventing me from seeing the extent of the damage he had done. I didn't get to applaud either. This whole episode took maybe 5 minutes tops, probably less. But aside from a little paint lost on the edge of my door, that was probably going to have to be replaced anyway, I was fine. Him, not so much. I mean, first off, my dude, it's a brand new car. Like, why are you getting so mad about a big old dent in the door? Like, yeah, that sucks and everything, but you probably got insurance, and if the other person's there and says, "That's my car," and you think, "Oh, you did this?" You get their insurance info, you get their information, and you go about your day, and you don't have a hissy fit like an angry toddler being forced to eat broccoli or something. What? Act like an adult, okay? Take a moment. If you get angry, just, oh, this sucks. It's just a car. It's not like you came out to find out that someone had, hit your child or something, okay? It's a car. Chill out. Story 5. I, 21 female, am scared of being too controlling with my girlfriend, 20 female. I've been dating my girlfriend for 2 years. I genuinely really love this woman. We've gone through countless ups and downs, and I've been so happy with where we are in our relationship. I'm not anti-alcohol. At the beginning of our relationship, I was, but over time, I have vastly changed my standpoint. She was a social drinker and showed me that it was not a scary thing when done in moderation. She would mainly only drink at parties or whenever hanging out and drinking with friends. This was fine with me, and we had a lot of fun at parties drinking. I just turned 21, and I'm a little less than a year older than her. Before I turned 21, she asked if I would buy her alcohol. I said no, and she could wait her turn to buy herself drinks. After turning 21, I went back on this a little and occasionally bought us singular cans to drink together while watching a movie or something. This probably happened 3 or 4 times since I turned 21. The issue happened when I bought a bottle of vodka for a party. I was going to be designated driver, and our friends asked if we could bring drinks. I bought 1 big bottle, and we brought it with us. However, no one ended up drinking any of it. We took it back, and I said she should keep it at her house. I live on a dry campus where they do regular room checks. That's when she started the hobby of drinking and playing video games with her friend Rob, 21. I didn't previously have a problem with Rob, but I'm beginning to. Every single night after work, she would get home and get extremely drunk playing games with Rob. After a while, I started getting concerned. We had a serious discussion about it after about the 10th day. I told her that this habit is unhealthy and she could develop a serious issue. She assured me it wasn't and she just needed an escape after work. I told her this was not the way to go about it. Addiction runs heavy in her family, and alcoholism has just very recently caused major heartache in mine. She assured me it was fine and she could stop anytime she wanted. I told her that I could not and would not date an alcoholic. I do not think I could handle it. We came to the compromise that she would only drink on weekends or whenever she was hanging out with friends. This seems very fair to me, as I would even be willing to drink with her if we were hanging out. However, there have been 2 times now where I get on the game to see how she's doing and she tells me she's been drinking. Each time I've gotten extremely upset and told her how much it upsets me. I've just found out that Rob has been buying her alcohol since the bottle she got from me ran out a while ago. Not to mention, on 1 or 2 weekdays, she would text me asking my permission to drink on a weekday. I told her that she's an adult and I can't physically stop her from doing anything. It's hard because I feel so controlling, especially limiting the amount she's allowed to drink. I'm just genuinely very worried about her. I don't want to make her life worse, and I'm scared she'll get sick of me nagging at her. Do I step back and let her do what she wants, or do I hold my ground and try to keep her from inflicting pain on herself? I really do not want to break up. I can't imagine loving anyone else. Please, do not just suggest we break up. I really do not want to do that. That is an absolute last resort. So, folks, alcoholism is a very serious disease, and you definitely want to help people in your life who are showing parts of that, having talks with them, the dreaded intervention kind of thing. But this also seems very early on in what this person is doing. And yeah, I think there have been a lot of us where when we're at that high school age and we're at the point where we can start drinking, we get a little reckless and hit it a little hard. But I don't know where that line is, and I think it might be different for each and every person. But yeah, the whole I can quit whenever I want. No one should ever say that. It's such a cliche at this point in time that if you hear those words coming out of your mouth, that should be the biggest red flag. But otherwise, I think the most that you can do is just have serious talks with a person and be like, I'm just kind of concerned that you are resorting to this. And also resorting to alcohol just because it's like, I need something to unwind after a hard day. Every once in a while, yeah, but that can become a reliance too, because trust me, as someone who's been, working all sorts of jobs for many, many years, so many days I need something to unwind. And there was a time where I was turning to alcohol a little too often and it wasn't great. So I don't know. I don't think there is a set line or prescription for everyone, but I do think it is stuff that really needs to be talked about. And if you as a partner are becoming uncomfortable with it, I think it's within your right to let them know, like, look, I'm not personally really comfortable with this. And if it continues on, I don't know if we can keep continuing on together. Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.